just say if this was Hollywood, I would have screamed cut. Alright, and then now we have our piece that we just magnetized here, and we're going to line it up, and it's magnetized in the same way as the other one. We line up the polarity, so now when we take it here, it's going to stick right on the end, and as you can see, you know, it's not going to stay up necessarily. We're not trying to do that. All we're trying to do is form a bond between the pieces, and they'll be hanging off of each other. So now when we take this piece right here, basically, and if we have one of these right here, we can essentially take the lip of this one, and that gives us the strength to hold it up, and then combine with the magnets, and now again it forms a solid surface. And again, you don't want to go too crazy with this, because you do still want like a solid surface for you guys to go on. All you're doing is magnetizing some parts to maintain like the modularity of your board. You know what I mean? So that's the overall goal in this situation. So you don't need to magnetize like every tiny little thing or whatever. Like, you do whatever you want to do within reason. You know what I mean? If you want to magnetize every piece, magnetize every piece. If you don't, you don't. But I mean, it's up to you, obviously, how far you want to take it. And magnets are cheap, so, you know, in a lot of ways, there's no reason not to take it to the, you know, take it to the edge. So, but there you have basically, you know, that's the essentially the main explanation for how to keep every one of these pieces magnetized in the same way, so all of them will always be compatible with each other. So now if I take this piece here, I have this one that I just magnetized, and do I have another one already done? Let me do this one really quick too, actually. Yeah. And again, we're just going to take it right along those straps right there, and that's where we're going to put our holes. And be very careful with this. You know, pay attention, don't talk and try to explain to people while you're doing this. You can start the holes too, like ahead of time, with like a little pin or something like that, or you know, razor blade, to make sure you get them lined up. Don't go too crazy either. Remember, like, you're working on a model, so everything should be done like gently, and you should take your time with it and do it like with precision. Also, you should go through and like clean off all your mold lines and make sure you have like a nice flat surface and clean surface and everything. Carefully, like a lot of these, you're not going in real deep. The plastic isn't that thick in a lot of places, and there's like holes through on the bottom. Don't like poke the drill bit out and like stab yourself and drill a hole in your hand or anything like that. I mean, I've never done anything like that before. All right, maybe once or twice. So I'm saying from experience, don't do that. Always be careful with all this stuff, because like, you know, these are still power tools, even though you're like in your house, like at your desk, you know what I'm saying? Just still should be like cautious, you know. I mean, you're not gonna probably like lose a finger or anything, but it would definitely suck if you got stabbed by a drill bit, like in full drill action. I mean, and again, just be careful. But also, while you're doing this, man, like double, triple check like you're putting in your magnets in the right way, because once they're in here, it is a pain to get them out, and a lot of times you will have to like take out a chunk of whatever you just put them in incorrectly, and then just go back and kind of repair it. But in the end, I mean, this is all, it's all just plastic. Like, you can manipulate this stuff any way you want. So there we have it. That's magnetized. Obviously you can see, you know, how long that took. We just did it right now. And now if you take, put it back here real quick. Just the like whole strength and integrity of the board is like exponentially strong now, you know, with everything magnetized. This one is kind of a weird situation because I don't have a pillar underneath this one. Not really sure why. I think I was at one point in time toying with the idea of having that one be a floater. Right? Whoops. Having that one be a floater right there. That's funny because I talk about in one video how I can't wait to shift the board, because the tallest like point of the board is right where my elbow is always at, and I knock it over like all the time. So you guys got the full on like demonstration in action. But you know, overall, this is a good example of the two situations you could be in. One where everything just is like falling apart all the time and busting because you didn't glue enough, and two where you have like the ability to like go through and just like move or remove or change whatever you want to change, you know, to get your board how you want to get it in like no time. Because like, I mean, honestly, right now this board is definitely a hot mess, but like, you know, it wasn't when I started this video. When I started the video, it was all like built and like purging and whatnot. But the beauty of this stuff is how quickly you can like, you know, modify it and change it and everything. So you shouldn't be afraid, like once it's built, it's like perfect. You don't want to like ever touch it, because you may have like a cool configuration, but there may be something like super cool that you're right about to discover, and if you never mess around, you're never gonna find it. But I don't know. I'm just some guy on the internet playing with super expensive plastic toy models. But there you have it. So that's basically the setup, and now you can see, you know, the difference obviously in having it magnetized versus not having it magnetized. You know, it's much more stable obviously this way, but you know, more than anything, it retains all of the modularity, all the functionality, and you know, all the fun of it. And you know, you can, like I said, you can take it to whatever level you want to take it with. You know, if you want to go crazy and magnetize every little spot on every little piece or whatever, you can. If you just want to magnetize like a couple little like necessity pieces, you can obviously do that as well. But you know, sky's the limit with this stuff, which is pretty cool. I mean, I obviously really enjoy it and really enjoy playing with it and everything. But if you basically have like this piece is not magnetized, it's just hanging in there, but you can set like another one in there and it gives it like a little bit more strength or whatever. But if you have the same situation and those pieces are magnetized, switch out. Again, sorry, I'm like destroying all this. I'm sure there's somebody at home who's like, no, what are you doing? But I promise you, I built all this so I can easily rebuild it, and we can possibly even build it and make it stronger. But there you have, like, boom. Now this guy is supported by the magnet and by this piece right here. So obviously, if you like get physical with it, you know, you can move it, knock it or whatever, but overall it's going to stay a lot better. And this one's not magnetized on this side right now, which is another magnetization you could do, because you see I have those drilled out right there. So now this gives it like the like super strength right here, because then you get the bond on both sides. So now what I'm going to do is show you how to do this one. You'll see I went ahead and drilled this one out already, and you're just going to go along that piece right there, and you have to go a little bit more on the inside. You can't go along the strap on these ones, so you're going to go a little more, or towards the outside I guess you would say, away from the middle piece. So go away from the middle piece a little bit, and then drill those holes, and then line it up over here and see. And the reason you have to go away a little bit is because one, that sticks out, and two, when you go to drill here, you want to make sure you have solid like meat that you can dig into with the drill bit. So you're basically just going to line that up now that you have your holes and do it. Now what you don't want to do, and I'm going to tell you from my own experience, I started off and tried to drill all the way out at the end right here, and I did like 2 of them, and then I realized when I went to drill like the next side that they were running into each other and it wasn't going to work. So you have to think out the spacing on these, and that's why I say to do them where I did, because I've already, you know, I did the work already, the little discovery phase. You know, you don't need to reinvent the wheel. But I mean, you can, and if you figure out something better, by all means, let me know. You know, I'd love to have these tips already done for me so I can save time having to figure all this out. But yeah, so that's it. You take that piece, line it up, put it there, and then we're just going to look at the general placement of the holes there. And granted, I've done a couple of these, so I do have like a pretty good idea where I'm going and everything. You'll get used to it super quick. And you'll realize too, the cool thing about this board is, like, it's intimidating when you look at it and you see like all the lights and all the magnets and all like, oh, this, that, and the other. But it's literally just like a bunch of basic stuff. Like, if you can work a drill, you know what I mean? This is the drill bit I'm using for this. If you can work, you know, a drill, and you probably have one, or if you're, I guess if you're young, your parents probably have one. I imagine if you're in this hobby though, you probably are grown and own your own drill. This stuff's too expensive for kids. But you know, basically you have now these holes lined up right there. You're just doing like the same little like steps over and over again. And again, I did all the legwork. Like, I mean, not I did, but you know, we as a community, including myself, have done, you know, a lot of legwork discovering, you know, what works best. Same with the lighting. Some guy had posted up. I wish I could give you a shout out right now, but I'm just not looking at it while I'm recording. But he had posted up like his setup of his lighting that he had wired up and everything in the comments on one of the Necromunda forums, and it looked great. It looked awesome. And honestly, like, I was originally considering like the same thing that he ended up doing, and you know, it was crazy seeing somebody had already like done it and everything, and you know, it looked awesome. It looked great. I'm glad I went the direction I did. You know, but again, it's sweet just seeing that like some other people having these same ideas, and like, you know, seeing that now, maybe I saw that and then that inspired me or something like that to do that kind of lighting, or maybe I saw that and it gave me another idea and then I was able to improve on it even more. Like, you know, that's what it's all about. Because like, you know, I used to have a different mentality with it. I used to think like, oh, I don't want to like put out all these pictures or show everybody all my cool customizations because other people copy it and they don't give me credit. But then really you're like, who really cares? Like, who cares if somebody copies it? I feel like the other way about it. I take like pleasure in it. I feel like it's like flattery, like a compliment if someone copies like something I did, whether they give me credit or not. Like, honestly, because I'm like, man, that's awesome. Like, you know, I was able to like influence other people and improve like their models, or give them a cool idea that they were then able to improve on. Or maybe I did a really cool conversion and then somebody else did a way better paint job than I'd ever be able to do. Like, you know, it's just, it's weird. Art is strange in that sense that, you know, it's cool if you enjoy it, but it's almost in a way like more enjoyable if other people can enjoy it, and then, you know, one artist can inspire another in a way. So, but anyway, that's like, I'm like diving deep into like philosophy and stuff. But yeah, okay, so we got basically our setup here, so we can set these guys up and they're sticking together that way. And now we're working on doing one in the other direction. So here we have that one going this way. And now when I did these ones, here's another one. There's once it's put in here, you can't tell where anything is. So look, that was, I couldn't even remember where this was. The way I magnetize these is different. Oh, and this is the one I messed up on. You see, I started on the corners and it was too close to the corners. So then when I went to do this one, I was like, oh, I'm not going to be able to do that side. So all I did was just add it where it's supposed to be. So I put it in the right place. But now all I'm going to do is with these ones are always going to go into the same place on these. So this is always going to be like essentially the male, and the pillar is always going to be the female, and the way these stick out. So you can magnetize these however you want. You don't have to use like that special little like swap magnetization rule. Now you can use it if you want and just, you know, stick with the same thing, but I did mine the other way around. I kept it consistent, like all males are one way and all females are another way, and then the ones, I don't know, it, like I said, just make your own system, and then that way like you can be consistent, because it doesn't matter to anybody else like how you magnetize any of your stuff. What matters is like, you know, if it functions properly when it's all said and done. So now here we just like pop those two little magnets in there, and now we have this piece set up. So now we're going to go through and throw our magnets in this piece, so they will stick together. And I probably don't need to give you guys like the every second play by play of it, but I figure it's probably better than like